Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Birds Postgame Live. Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan joined, of course, by Eagles Hall of Fame left tackle Trey Thomas. What's going on, fellas? The streak is over. The Eagles have beaten the Dallas Cowboys. They had lost the last three. But more importantly, Trey Thomas, there's another streak that's still going on. And if anybody's watching and looks over your right shoulder, at least from this visual standpoint, it's that undefeated streak that you've been talking about since what, week 2?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just keep riding, man. I'm right until I'm wrong.
You are right.
So, yeah. I mean, right now, this team, they just keep finding a way to win, even though tonight it kind of felt like, oh, man, are you guys trying to find a way to blow this? Like, what's going on here? But we pulled it off. Still undefeated.
Second week in a row, Adam, where it felt like, the game in the second half might be slipping away. The Eagles do a few things. They get back and take command. I mean, at this point now, 6-0, first place. They lead the division. We were talking about this the other day. Now, there's only 11 games left in the season. If they only won 5 of those 11 games, which is ridiculous to think, they'd still win 11 games. They're in the driver's seat.
I love that stat, man. No one has used that one. That's a great one. Mm-hmm. Look, they won the game. Avant and I got the total points correct. In our pregame, we both said 23-20 Eagles.
Humble brag.
Yeah, why not? No, but it was 26-17, so the Eagles did cover. You had the Eagles covering, right?
I did have the Eagles covering, yes.
So look, there's some good. The craziness once again. I don't know if anyone could come up with an explanation of the 20 points in the second quarter, the best second quarter team, not only in the league. They may wind up setting a record by the time the season's ended. It's crazy. I don't know what to think of it.
Right.
They have the lull again. I don't quite understand. Maybe Trey could talk about it, because I know Andy. There's some video. When Andy would say play. You've probably seen that video before when things would get stagnant in the game, whether they're up big or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're just flat. But and I think they rode the wave. Before we get into all this, what we saw, they rode the wave of the crowd, man. It was what you would think. Cooper Rush looked like a guy who was not drafted. This is his worst game by far, and got to give Eagles credit. Their coverage was tremendous in the first half, for the most part, and then second half they got stagnant and they had some breakdowns in offense. Mm-hmm. But once again, when they had to do it, when they said we're going to run the ball down their throat, they did that.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I thought that was a big key to the game. We'll talk about that. We can get into it. Trey, just as a person who played here and still lives in this area, I'm curious about this whole weekend vibe. I mean, you had the Phillies just doing the unimaginable by smashing the Braves in 4 games, and then of course the Eagles come out Sunday night, and you like Adam said, the link was rocking. I mean, the Citizens Bank had been rocking all weekend before that. What a great weekend in Philadelphia sports, and as a player and now turned kind of fan and analyst, had to be pretty amazing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the energy around everything that's going on in the city. I mean, with the Phillies handling business, that just created an aura, and the fans just take over, just cross the street the following day, and again, could be able to come to an Eagles game this night against Dallas, big time matchup on a late game. The energy was just crazy. You got Jill Biden out there, singing the Eagles chant. Meek Mills is performing at the beginning of the game. I mean, they had Bradley Cooper there doing something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was everything that was going on to get the juices flowing for this game, and I think that the team just fed off of that energy, especially after Lane Johnson went out. You just saw like the air kind of came out of the team once Lane went out, and then they kind of had to regather to kind of pull this game off.
Yeah. A lot of adversity in this game. A lot of guys coming in and out, and of course in the second half. Chris Collinsworth said something in the first half. I want to run it by both you fellas because I thought it was a really good summation of what the Eagles are. He called them a great combination of power and finesse. There are times the Eagles are throwing the ball all over the place. We've seen them come out in the first half just chucking the ball. And there are times where things get a little out of hand, and Adam mentioned it. Then they realize they got to stabilize the offense and they run the ball. And it just seems like they have the ability to beat you both offensively and defensively in different ways, power and finesse. It's like the perfect combination for them, Adam. I mean, we've seen them in different ways win games this year. and kind of flexing both different muscles whenever they need it.
Yeah, look, they've done this. Look, the Cardinal game, this game, a Jacksonville game, at bad weather.
Yep.
They impose their will. That's very impressive that you can do that. I think when they have the self scout, because remember they're on a bye this week, they return in 2 weeks to play Pittsburgh. It's here, I think, right? Is that game here?
That game is here, and yes, against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So what they'll do is they're going to have to take a look at this. I know it's not a major issue, but it's an issue. On the lulls that they have. I know no team's ever going to be perfect. They've not. It's crazy. They have the best record in football. We could argue. Some people might say the Bills are better. I'm not going to argue if you want to say that. But the Eagles are right now the only undefeated team. It's hard to do. They'll have to go through the self scout and figure out why they have the lulls in each game, just about. But it is impressive when they want to turn it on. They do. It's funny because I wonder what those talks are like, Trey. You tell us, like when you have a 4-minute drive, right? Or you have to put the game away. Does the coach say something to you? Do you guys talk to each other? How does that work?
Well, it's more the guys talking to each other. The coaches are going to give us something when we come off on the field. But when we're out there, it's all about us, and the guys that are out there on the field. And we're trying to keep each other going and getting the energy up and trying to keep our minds into it. So, the coaches can only control so much. And then that's why I feel like this team has enough leadership out there on that field to kind of keep everybody's mind into it and keep them on the right page.
Let me ask you about that, Trey, the power and finesse combination. Do you see that? Is that fair to say about the Philadelphia Eagles right now?
Oh, absolutely. You look at what was happening when they needed to run the ball. They came out there and ran just a couple power runs left and right, and it was right up the middle of the defense, and that's what kind of drove them down the field to make it even to get to the point where you can even throw the touchdown to Slim Batman. So you needed that. You needed all of that. You needed to have that power game, especially because you did not want to put Driscoll in a situation where he had to just drop back and try to protect. Because he's someone that had to play left tackle for what, a game or two. Now, so he's
2, yeah.
So he's had to play a left tackle 2 games, and then now you have to put him back over at right tackle. And as soon as he got beat inside, I'm like, oh man, here we go. Because that's what happens when you switch sides. You drop that inside foot, and he held up enough to get it done.
Yeah. Hey, listen, 6-0. They fought through a lot of adversity. They've had some epic highs. I mean, they've looked unstoppable at certain points of game. And then we see the lulls, but they always seem to overcome them. Are they the best team in the NFL right now, Trey?
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Yes. When you have everybody, when you have all your horses out there, I think that this is the best team in NFL right now.
All right. Well, that's great to say, because not only do they go into the bye, and Trey will get your opinion on what they can do during the bye week, but when they come out of the bye week, the next 3 opponents, all teams right now that have losing records. So this thing can get you're undefeated Dolphin. That thing's going to gain some traction over the next 4 to 5 weeks as the Philadelphia Eagles continue to assert their dominance over the NFL. We're going to break this down from offense standpoint, defense standpoint. We'll talk a little bit about special teams, getting some injuries before we get out of here, and of course the thoughts on the bye. We have new partners, Fight Camp. It's an amazing app. First of all, you guys all work out. Adam, you work out. Trey, I know you work out. I work out too. And workout routines can be very boring. Like if you're a runner, you might do the same run all the time. If you're a home workout guy, you got the video that's like 35 years old with Cindy Crawford dancing around the headband. You got to have something new to do. You got to spice up your workout. Fight Camp is at-home boxing. It's actually one of the safest and most effective forms of exercise. Okay. They bring the best workout into your home, and they have thousands of different experts led by expert trainers who have decades of teaching experience with proper boxing form and technique. In fact, Coach PJ is a Philadelphia native and a huge Eagles fan. He's got tons of high energy workouts that are really fun to do and go through. So support them. Check them out at the Fight Camp app. You can download it for free. The app has live punch counting stats that motivate you to push harder, help you map out your progress. You can also go head to head against other members who are using the app. So Adam, you could fight Trey on the Fight Camp app. We don't want to
on the app. Yeah.
It's all fun and games, fellas. All right, that's all I'm trying to say. All right, one of the best things is it's also accessible to everyone, no matter what level you're at, no matter what experience, whatever age is. You're gonna have a great time using the Fight Camp app. So join the biggest boxing community in the world without leaving your home. Fight Camp packages start at just $99. And they get some great financing options for you. You can get started for as low as $9 a month. So for everything you need, go to fightcamp.com/insidethebirds to learn more. That's fightcamp.com/insidethebirds. All right, let's talk about the offense, because this was certainly sort of the way it started was not the way it ended, and then it did end that way. Hey, look, the key was blocking Micah Parsons, and what the Eagles decided to do, Trey, was say, nah, we'll just read Micah Parsons instead of blocking him, and that wound up being not only effective for them, but you saw how frustrated he got. He was looking around like, can someone like come around the backside here and help me out, because they're reading me. How much of that was key to their success in the first half?
I thought it was extremely the key to big time for them, because I mean you made him the conflict player. You allow him to not be able to just pin his ears back and then chase everything down from the backside, or for him to just cut loose on the offensive tackle. So, when you put him in conflict and he has to sit there and read, and it's like, when you run those zone read options, it's all about putting a player in conflict. And it's usually that backside defensive end or the backside linebacker that usually plays over the top of him. So they did a good job of doing that, putting them in situations. All right, hey, we might hand it off. All right, yep, here comes the pass over the top of you. So they did a really good job of mixing that up for him.
Yeah, definitely. And the weird thing is they didn't run the ball on their first possession at all. It's like they tried to get, I don't know, Adam, do you think they tried to get a little cute first, and then finally they're like, let's just do what we got to do here and run the ball on them?
Well, I thought there were times, obviously the second quarter, they threw the ball well. They really didn't take any shots downfield. No, we'll have to find out what the tape looked like. There was really nothing downfield. It was short.
Right.
Goddard had the drop off the deflection, and you know what he did, which this has always been his problem. He tries to run with the ball before he has it. Mm-hmm. The ball gets deflected. You see him. The shot on TV was perfect because you could see it in HD, of course. He started to run, and he didn't look it in, as Harold Carmichael would say, look it in. He didn't look it in. Mm-hmm. That would have been for a nice play. But yeah, they got the passing game going in the second quarter. The run game was inconsistent, but it was another one of these situations when they had to have it, they got it. Mm-hmm. Hurts clearly was a factor running the football. He had a couple of those magic runs you got. I don't know how he's doing. It looks like he's boxed in there.
Right.
I thought their offense was inconsistent. After the great second quarter, the lull, the first quarter, there's typical filling out period. I love them drawing them offside. That was a great job to end the first quarter. Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. That was smart. Sirianni is the CEO, head coach. That's what you do when you're not calling plays. You could think out there. I thought they did there, but look, it's another game where they left points on the field. I'm very curious passing game wise, because I didn't think the passing game. In fact, last week they were up 14-0. They had some plays downfield and they completely got shut down. I'm wondering. Well, I know that there were some plays that were supposed to be made. It should have been made. I think Hurts missed some plays. I thought he could have stepped up in the pocket. Mm-hmm. But we'll learn more as we talk to people who grade the tape. But I thought the passing game was a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah, Trey, did you think I sort of felt that way early on, but then I kind of had to remind myself that Dallas did come in with I think the third best defense in the league, and they'd only allowed 20 points total in in their total of the past 2 weeks. So did you feel like Dallas presented issues for them defensively at times?
Whenever you sit there and you talk about a good defensive front, that they have a good secondary, and that's one of the things that, you got Al Harris over there, who's their secondary coach that mm-hmm. has been doing extremely well. And I remember talking to Al, and you got Diggs that's over there. That's a solid corner. He's their big play Diggs over there. He's just like Slay for us, so, these guys are some sticky corners out there that can create some issues over there. But when you look at that first series, it's kind of like like you said, we wanted to come out there and puff our chests out like, all right, we're not scared of you, Dallas defensive front. And we end up running 5 plays and we're out of there, So I think that once you started mixing that run game into it, because that's what our offense, that's when we're at our best, when you can mix the run in. And I'm telling you, I think that when Lane Johnson went down with that concussion, I think that took a lot of air out of the offense. And then, then you got to kind of figure out, all right, how can you have to adjust what we can do so that we can kind of come out of this with a win.
Yeah, we'll get to the injuries because there were a couple of guys fighting through injuries on offense, as there has seemingly been every week for the Eagles, and they overcome it. I agree with Adam, because if you think about their second possession, it was 3rd and 8, and Jalen had a chance to hit, I want to say, A.J. Brown on the left side. He rushed the throw just a little bit. I don't think he was under duress, and that was an opportunity to move the sticks and get it going. But finally, on the third drive, when they score, which kind of ended the first and started the second quarter, you saw them do what Greg Cosell talked about, Adam and Trey, is that in the pregame show, he said the way to beat an amoeba defense, the way Dallas tries to stand everybody up, is to run a little bit of tempo on them. And you saw them pick up the pace on that third possession. And maybe not so much from a no huddle, but you saw them do the quick snap, Trey, right? You notice how they got to the line quick, snapped it, and then kept Dallas off balance that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the ways, like you said, when you have amoeba defense, because it makes them get settled. You need to see what's going on. They need to go ahead and line up, because they cannot mess around, because you're not out there messing around with the cadence. So they have to get set. They have to show their hand, and then you can just pick them apart from there.
How many teams played those kind of, like, everybody standing up around the line of scrimmage defenses when you were playing?
Oh, we used to see it a lot.
Okay.
Because then you have to, the key about when you're dealing with an amoeba defense, especially when it comes to protection, you just have to declare who are your known rushers. Right. And when you have someone like a Parsons out there that can move around, you can put him at middle linebacker, you can put him out there at edge or whatever. You need to make sure that you know which one of those guys are their known rushers. And just because they have only 11 or 52 or 56, you have to know which guys are their rushers and which ones are the linebackers.
Absolutely. And obviously the game kind of swung there, right? They scored the touchdown on the Miles Sanders run. I thought he ran tough again. He may not have had the greatest game, but this is a good defensive front. Then they get the interception from Gardner Johnson, and it gives them great field position. Diggs had to come out a little bit, then they start moving the ball with the run, and then the next thing you know, bam, touchdown A.J. Brown. I thought Dallas made some really strange decisions in this game. We can talk about them, but then going for it really early, that close on their side of the field, not getting it, Eagles get the ball again. It just kind of catered to the Eagles. Especially to give them a short field when they have that good of an offense, Adam, was a little bit of a curious decision to me. But again, hey, you credit the Eagles. They took advantage. They had the run game going. They took ahead. And, of course, A.J. Brown in his first game ever against the Cowboys gets that touchdown. That was big.
That was nice. It's interesting that they ran the ball. They're down 9 points, and they're running the ball with 5 minutes left. And this is – I'm like, wow, what are they doing? Okay, what it really means is they clearly don't trust the quarterback. I don't know what. I mean, I know they ran the ball well. That was, the Eagles' run defense is another. It keeps leaking oil. It's not bad, but it's not good enough, and that's surely a concern, because Ezekiel Elliott, as we talked about in the pregame show, is simply not the same player he once was. Oh, how about this? This is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about the second quarter scoring. Listen to these. Listen to the second quarter scoring. Some of the scoring is good for a game for like other teams. 24 week 1, 17 week 2, 24 week 3, 20 week 4, 7 last week, 20 this week, 112 points, nearly 19 points on average in the second quarter. I don't know what the record is for a 16 game season, but this has got to be right up there. It is the strangest thing I've ever. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Trey, as a player.
I have no idea, because it seems like it's like everything just starts clicking. Sometimes I think in games it takes you a little while to get the juices flowing. And it's like, all right, you still have that little haze in your eye a little bit. You still have a little glassy eye. You're still trying to get things going. And it just seems like, for whatever with this team, it just clicks in that second quarter. It's like, all right, boom, we're ready to go. You've had a couple of ammonia caps. Let's get to work.
You woke up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's this simple, guys. Maybe their base offensive philosophy is better than their first 15. You're talking about getting cute or trying to script it and do this, do that, get a little this, that. No, it's just when they say let's just go play some football. They decide that they do that, and then all of a sudden they become unstoppable. Obviously the injuries played a part. You mentioned Lane Johnson going out, Trey, with the concussion, but the game started with Jordan Mailata playing with the shoulder injury that he's got. He's wearing a brace on there. Range of motion is what Adam and I were told was going to be an issue for him today. I was trying to keep a close eye on him. It looked like he was trying different, like using the left hand more. Obviously the offense was based on running and some quicks. There wasn't a lot of downfield stuff, as Adam mentioned, but were you able to look at Mailata and see if he was favoring that shoulder, if he was blocking any differently?
I saw he and Big Jordan Davis singing at the women's clinic or whatever that was going on. I'm like, yo, big ass better be out there playing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care about range of motion. When you up there singing whatever duet y'all singing, all right, hey, I need you on Sunday. That's what you're here for. You're here for Sunday. Not to be on the stage up there dancing with Jordan singing little, R&B songs. So I really wasn't, once I saw that, I expect for you to perform at your highest. Yes. I'm not looking for a lack of range of motion. Whatever, you've been up there singing, all right, let's get to work.
Well, how did you feel he did?
I think he played well.
All right, there you go.
I think he played well. I didn't see anything that made me feel like, oh man, his shoulders messed up. I thought he played well.
All right, I want you to watch the All 22 this week and get back to us before we maybe do our next Inside the Birds film review pod on Wednesday and just see what you thought of him. Because I was very curious, but it's hard to watch just one guy when there's 22 on the field. The tape always shows. Yeah. Landon Dickerson was in and out again. I guess we just have to get kind of used to this guys going in and out thing. Like, it's good that they come back in, trust me, for the most part. But it always gives a little concern when the guy keeps going in and out with these lower leg injuries, especially given his history. Adam, did they actually say what it was that
no.
That's another thing. There was very skittish reporting of the injuries. In fact, when Lane Johnson went out, they said he was not receiving medical attention, and we, as the viewers, did not have an opportunity to see the play where he suffered the concussion. With the new protocols, Adam, it may have been a case where, because we saw this in a couple of games last week and this week, a guy just gets put on his butt or goes to the ground hard. They take him out and then they say that's it now. Ever since the Tua thing,
instability. Yeah, it's the new protocol, the adjustment. If they think he's got some instability, it's. But what happens is you go into the medical tent, they check you out. It was weird. Yeah, you saw him walk off. Let's hope he's okay. Obviously you got to check that. Gardner Johnson hurts his hand. You saw him kind of flexing it. He may have got it taped up. Came back. I mean, he's played better. We heard it's been a steady progression because remember his training camp, folks, for lack of better phrases, the regular season. He had no training camp or preseason with the Eagles, as you know. He got traded in early September, so he's learning on the run here. He's getting better. I love how he came up and he saw where the ball was going. Cooper Rush telegraphed it. He saw it. He came way back from the secondary and got that second pick. Yeah, that was big. Look, the turnovers last year, they just were not a turnover defense. They're getting them this year.
They are. We'll get finishing off the offense real quick. Why do you think when Lane went out? I mean, obviously the Cowboys trade just smelled blood there, and I think you hit it on the head. I think asking Driscoll to go from right to left to right and all the footwork and technique that's involved, and then to face this Dallas front is just not fair. It's very difficult to do. So did you kind of anticipate this kind of second half when you saw that Driscoll was going to play right tackle? And
yeah, I was hoping that. I'm like, look, please don't let us get in third down situations because we're going to be in trouble, because what they were doing was just going 5 down, and they were going to make everybody block man on, and they were going to cut loose. I mean, you even saw them come in because we already talked about last week how some of those double A gap with the linebackers was a problem because Gainwell would get a little confused with who he had to go back and block. But, they did that, and then, they bailed out of there one time. Jalen just cut up right behind him. But you knew that once Lane went down, they were going to just go 5 down, and let's see what we can do. Let's see if your guys are good enough to block our horses. And we had a couple problems out there.
Definitely, definitely. As far as the passing game goes, Brown 567 for a touchdown. A lot of that in the first half. He also had a drop we talked about. Goddard 2 for 22. It was a very strange kind of. There was not like a definitive flow to the pass offense, but it did seem if especially with the RPOs that Jalen was able to hit guys when he needed to move the chains or he could run. He wound up gaining 27 yards on 9 carries, which is not normally a Jalen Hurts stat line, but again, against this Dallas defense, it did the job. So it was a pretty good offensive effort. They scored 26 points. I think that's, you get that, you're usually in good hands there. Let us take a break to hear from our friends at Rivers Casino and Sportsbook.
Game night for me is every night. At the place where I meet up with the guys, grab a cold one, and watch the big game on the big screen. So whether it's the money line, the pass line, or a parlay, I'm in it to win. This is my city, and this is my place.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Birds Postgame Live. Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan, and Eagles Hall of Fame offensive tackle Trey Thomas. We're going to talk about the defense now. So definitely two different kind of looks in the first and second half. I really thought the secondary came up big, guys, in the first half. You had, when I say secondary, linebackers to secondary level. I thought there was a nice pass breakup by TJ Edwards. Bradbury had one. Obviously, Bradbury, I think, poked the ball that wound up being intercepted. Somebody did by Darius Slay. What's that?
He had 4 of them. Bradbury had 4 pass deflections.
Yeah, 4 pass breakups. So I know sometimes often, Trey, we talk about your pressure can dictate your coverage, but Dallas did try to do some quick stuff, and the Eagles seemed to be a step ahead of them, I thought, in the first half on the back end.
Yeah. In the first end, the secondary, like I said, they were playing with a lot of energy. You come out of there, they were playing up there, controlling those receivers, staying in front of them, getting some deflections. You get a couple turnovers. That's what you want. But to come out of this game in 0 sacks,
yeah,
0 sacks,
right?
And everybody was, oh man, Dallas is going to be going up against the best offensive line. They came out of this game with 4 sacks. There's only been 2 teams that they've come out with only 2 sacks. So we come out there, they have 4 sacks against us. We come out with 0 sacks. And Jason Peters even had an appearance, and he showed 3 or 4 plays, and he was out of there too. So I mean,
yeah. But they did have 12 pass breakups, Adam, which is almost counter to what you're usually you get those when you got tremendous pressure up front. The pressure was okay. It's just I just thought that the back end really held up. They made their money tonight mostly.
Yes.
Yeah, they had their lull. The pass defense struggled at one point in I think
third quarter.
Yeah, third, and obviously the fourth quarter when Jake Ferguson scored. Oh yeah, remember Dalton Schultz did not play. We talked about this in the pregame. He has a PCL sprain.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't go. He re-injured the previous week, so that hurt them. He crushed the Eagles in Dallas last year.
Right.
So I thought that was an advantage for them. And yeah, they gave up some plays. It's always tough though. They were up 20-0. When you're playing off, you could see they were giving up some room. And we'll find out what the blitz numbers were. They didn't seem like they were blitzing a lot.
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah. So they're playing coverage. And look, 12 pass breakups, 3 picks. It's hard to argue with that, but I also thought I would have liked to see a little bit more pressure.
Maybe. I can understand that, especially it seemed like Rush, if you did pressure him a little bit, he was going to throw it up for you, which is what you would expect from the backup quarterback. So here's what I thought Dallas did well in the second half, Trey, and I think it was tactical. It seemed to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, right, or if you saw something differently. It seemed like Dallas decided when they saw that 5-man front, they were going to try to attack the edges. They were going to go do a lot of play action. They were going to do a lot of bootlegs, rollouts. Sometimes they go spread and just throw a real quick, like a smoke or something like. And then when the Eagles that helped them move the chains. When the Eagles went to 4-down fronts is when they ran. They got those. We always say when you only have a 4-man front, then you can get those double teams going. And this goes to Adam's point about the Eagles' run defense being leaky. When the Eagles are in a 4-man front, they've been run on this year, and that's seemed to be Dallas's strategy there. When they show 5, let's hit him with the short pass around the edges. When they show 4, let's bang them right there with Pollard and Elliott.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because that's when you can get your combination blocks. You can run inside zones right up the middle of it. And then when you get those 5 downs, you want to, I mean, when you got Big Jordan standing in the middle, the second part of our duet that was singing to the ladies, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's an animal in there, so you want to get away from him, stay on the outsides of it. And that's what, you saw Elliott doing, where he would kind of lean up on the inside and then bounce it outside. So that's what some of the things that you just kept saying. And there's a lot of play action. You saw a lot of play action. And there were times where it's like, look, man, how do we keep getting hit with the same thing? I mean, one time they ran like play action like 2 or 3 times back to back. But, hey, we did enough to get out of there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Adam and I talked about this a lot. When you're playing this style of defense, it kind of leaves you vulnerable to those edges. You got 5 guys who's going to cover the flats, who's going to cover the comebacks. And I don't know, it's sort of surprising to me that Dallas, which is one of the few teams they played this year that has a good offensive line and can mix the run and pass really well. They're not one-dimensional. Didn't really seize on that opportunity earlier in the game, or maybe they tried and it didn't work. And they did try a few play actions, and then Rush would make a bad throw. But it feels like if there's going to be a blueprint to beat the Eagles, that second half what Dallas did is probably the template. It's just who can execute it.
Yeah, I agree. But yes, yeah. But it seems like our linebacker play was a little off this week. Just when it comes to stopping the run, it seems like a couple times. Yeah, it just seems like we were just a little off when it came to that part of the game this week, and that's something that we're going to have to go back and correct during this bye week.
Well, and of course, injuries didn't help, because when Chauncey had to leave, Adam, I believe Kevon Wallace came in, and it also seemed like Dallas was like, all right, well, we can run in his direction, and if we get our guy in the second level, we're going to be able to get him.
And past that, and it seemed like they threw it and had success.
And threw it too, yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly. Look, Wallace is more of a box player. He's not good in coverage. That was the knock on him at Clemson, and that certainly is the situation here. They're going to have to really upgrade their backup safety position. It's probably not going to happen now, but I'm saying for next year, have to look at that. But there's a lot to learn from this defense before we move to special teams. Reddick had a couple really good rushes. But yeah, Trey's right. They need more pressure on that kid. I'm a little surprised they didn't get more pressure on him, because we talked about in the pregame show, Tyler Smith has been inconsistent. Cosell talked about that on his tape study. They started substituting. The Farino kid came in. I saw it was a 7th rounder. They keep rotating with Jason Peters. He didn't play a lot, but they do that. Very strange what they're doing. And you want to take advantage of that. I really expect the Eagles, because Cooper Rush is not a good athlete. I thought they'd get more pressure. Boy, that was the one surprise with this defense, though. The back end at times is very good. I just thought they'd get more pressure on him. Though, quite frankly, the first half, he's so scattershot. The crowd got to him. They play their zones were very tight. Their zone exchanges were good. They were not giving up a lot of plays in the pass game. And then, obviously, later on, they had a lull. I think part of it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or CJ Gardner-Johnson leaving the game.
Right. So they only had 4 quarterback hits total and no tackles for a loss. Compare that to Dallas. Dallas had 4 quarterback hits and 6 tackles for a loss there. So again, I think that'll be a part of the discussion is, does Jonathan Gannon ever want to get more aggressive than he has to? Does he ever have a time where he can smell the blood and go after it? We've seen him blitz this year, right? But we really haven't seen him kind of choke somebody out with a lot of pressure yet. And maybe he's just not made up that way, Trey. But if you think about it, the line between winning and losing this game are closer. I mean, if Cooper Rush does not underthrow severely, who is it? CeeDee Lamb on the left side? Yeah. I mean, who knows what happens in the last few minutes of that game. That was, I get it. Brandon Graham was barreling down on him and did hit him. And he's sort of fortunate he didn't get called for a penalty, but there were a couple of plays. How about the CeeDee Lamb stretching out for the first down in the first half, and Dallas doesn't challenge that? That was mind-boggling to me.
That was a first down. That was a first down. I mean, geez.
That was a first down.
And by the way, I don't know why on that 4th and what was it, 4th and 1 they threw the football.
Yeah.
Now that was a strange call. I'm not giving. This is why you're paying Ezekiel Elliott what you're paying him.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was a strange call.
Yeah. Well, and then you're right. I'm not sure if they should have gone for it in general. It's early in the game. I know they're down 20-0, but they were so. What, as Tom Coughlin would refer to, what was that, like the -75? Because he always used to say if you're 25 and if you're on your own 25, that's like the -75. He always, I don't know why he always decided to use plus and minus in saying, but
the gold zone. What he refused to say red zone. Gold.
No, it was green.
Gold zone.
Green zone. Green is go.
Green
is go. You know what? Yeah, red is bad. We want to call it the green zone. Did you ever play? I know you went to Jacksonville for a hot second, but Tom Coughlin wasn't the coach there.
No, he was not there.
No. Who was the coach?
I was Jack Del Rio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jack Del Rio. Yeah.
Interesting cat.
Yes, he is.
All right. So, all right, we'll finish off. In general, Eagles defense pretty good, especially when they needed to be against a Dallas team that tried to challenge them at the edges and up the middle. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll finish off on special teams. We'll get to maybe our bye week approach here and then finish it up. So let's take a break and hear from our friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schulter, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
All right, big thanks to our friends at Sky Motor Cars. If you go see them out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Jeff sent you. You will get a great deal, or just visit them at SkyMotorCars.com. So special teams is not so. It's like the one thing. You can't have a 6-0 team without having some kind of a sore thumb or some kind of blemish. And clearly, it's special teams, Trey. I mean, sometimes it's coverage, sometimes it's return, sometimes it's both. Is this just nitpicky? Does it stand out more because the Eagles are so good everywhere else, or is this something that needs to be corrected?
I think it's something that because last week you got hit with the pump fake. Was that last week or the week before?
No, that was last week.
And then now you have the big return. That's and it's probably one of those things where because this team is so good in different areas, but when you keep getting hit with little stuff like that, everybody starts to look at Mike a little bit like, hey, Mike, what's going on here? Especially if they score a touchdown after that big return. Everybody is scratching their eyes looking at Mike like, hey, all right now, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a big momentum swing, right? I mean, special teams
absolutely.
Is the overlooked Adam third phase of the game, and we've seen a couple of times here where teams have been able to try to get themselves back in or make it close because of some mistakes or just bad play overall by special teams.
Yeah, in fact, punt return coverage was terrible. If you're giving up 12 yards a punt over 3, that's bad.
Yeah.
Kid Turpin did both, who's been a good story. He's actually had a great year on special teams returns. Yeah, and he's playing a little bit of receiver too. He had a target. The positive post was good. I had a decent night.
First punt was not great though. I think it was
right.
Yeah,
but he made up for it. Right, he had a big 59-yarder. Covey, very explosive punt return for 14 yards. I love that. He's decisive. Right from the middle, little wiggle, got 14 yards. That's an explosive return.
And then he got body slammed after the end of it.
Still got his 40 right, which Q&A we're talking about. He looks like a crash dummy, but the coverage return, the coverages are terrible. It's been a disaster so far this season. I don't know. I'm not sure. Look, this is another thing. Mike Clay, who's in charge of it, just got to do a better job. I mean, what else can I tell you? Whatever he's doing is not working.
Yep.
That's a self-scout during the bye week. Coaches self-scout. Right. Big before they usually get like Friday. I know I was talking to one team this week. They actually one of the teams on the bye. They only got 2 days off, the coaches. Yeah. But we'll see what Sirianni does. But this week, Mike Clay's got to look at himself and say, what could I do better? It's obvious. Coverage team's got to be better.
Adam, one of our good followers, Miguel Lara, who always is great in interacting with us, has asked a question. He wants to know your opinion on if the Eagles will target someone before the deadline like a Brian Burns. So I think these are two separate questions. Well,
Yeah, Brian Burns.
We have said that maybe a pass rusher, but Brian Burns is different.
That would cost. Yeah, first of all, I know the Panthers absolutely positively do not want to trade him.
Okay.
He's one of their building block players like Derek Brown. We talked about this on the pregame show. I expect him to look into, if possible, getting an outside linebacker, stand up outside linebacker pass rusher. Definitely.
Yes.
I don't know what I mean. I know they didn't do it last year. I thought it was a mistake then. I think it's a mistake now. If Zach McPherson is your insurance policy, if one of the starting outside corners get hurt, I think you're making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
As a fourth rounder, has been inconsistent. I know he's gotten better, but I think he can start if one of the other guys can't play. I think you're making a mistake. Particularly when you're the NFL's only undefeated team. You're clearly going to the playoffs. You could make a big run. Who knows how far you could go? I would not get past the trade deadline and not add a veteran, but they could do what they want. That's their decision, but I think they're making a mistake if they don't do it.
All right. Thanks for the question, Miguel. Appreciate you watching. And I think Adam hit it on the head there. You look for depth and not probably a big blockbuster move to get a guy like Burns, who's not even on the market as we know right now. Trey, I thought you were about to say something. Am I right? Or
no.
No?
I was just listening.
Okay.
Yes, I was in agreement.
I gotcha. Trey, offensive line. Your overall, they go into the bye week. It's a good time, but man, this line has taken some shots and they keep coming back. But you're concerned at all as they enter the bye week? Just how banged up they've been at times?
No, I think you get this is a good chance. You need this bye week, to kind of get everybody healed up so you can get back. Because how many more games do they play before because they have 2 bye weeks now?
One.
No, just one still.
It's just the one?
It is just one.
Ooh, this is
Unless
early
you're
then.
considering one of the opponents on the schedule. I didn't know if you were making a tongue-in-cheek.
Early, man. So now that means, all right. Oh, man, I thought they had 2. All right, my bad. So that 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of games. Well, that's a long stretch.
Do you do you think it's a good time for them to have the bye week? Or last year they didn't have it until way later in the year.
Yeah, man. I remember there were a couple. We had 2 years where we played 15 games.
Oh my God!
We had a bye week. Yeah, so yeah, that's. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you saying the 4 preseason and then the first 11 weeks? Then you guys would have your bye like.
No. We played 15 regular season games.
That's ridiculous. Wait,
I didn't even know they had the bye.
So we had a bye week. We had a bye week the week before the last game or something like that.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
That was something like that. I think. I don't know. Maybe my memory's dicey. Who knows?
I have to fact check you on that. No, but what's the approach for this team?
Fact check me. but I think this is a good time that this group needs to get healed up. Kelsey's dealing with an ankle. Lane and Dickerson. I don't know what he's dealing with. It's something lower body. Man, you got Jordan. He needs to get his shoulder check, get it healed up. It was okay for him to hold the microphone and sing. So, I'm thinking he's okay, but then you got to get Lane, see what's going on with him with this concussion. So you need all your horses to make this thing continue to go, because it's not going to get any. You sit there and you look at the Steelers, you say, all right, you know what? They have a losing season. All right. You just want to make sure that you keep everybody on point as you keep running through the season.
Are you ready for this, Jeff? This is
yes.
Trey's right. This is a disgrace that they did this in 1999. Trey, what was your first season? 97?
98 was my first year.
Okay. Trey's second year. This is ridiculous. Week 16, they had 1 bye. Week 16. What?
That's unbelievable.
Gladiator.
I was
gladiator.
Still in college.
You're talking to a gladiator here, and I played every game. Didn't miss a snap.
Obviously, they realized their mistake. What's that?
I said we fact checked him and he wound up being right. That's
I was just curious. I wanted to see what the thinking was.
Wow.
Yeah,
By the way, that was Andy's first year.
Yes, 99, Andy's first year. Wow. I really didn't believe you, Trey, but I apologize. That's amazing.
And remember, that was Trey. You might remember this. This is when you guys beat the Rams. I know the Rams rested some players the last week. And then you guys sort of took the momentum to next season. You made the playoffs. Didn't you make the playoffs in 2000?
I think, Big Red's second year, I think we did make the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. So how about this? The Eagles come out of the bye. Their first game will be at home against Pittsburgh. We mentioned that. Then they get the Thursday night game. No, is it the Washington No, I think it's the Thursday night game against the Texans and then the Washington Commanders, right? So their next 3 opponents right now have I think 5 combined wins. Is that right? The Steelers have won 2 games. The Texans have won, I think, 1 game, correct?
And it's tied.
Yeah, and the Commanders have won 2 games. The Eagles have already won 6 games, and their next 3 opponents so far have totaled 5 wins altogether. What an unbelievable schedule they were able to
do. But then they play at the Colts, who will turn their season around. I know they're not a great, but
I mean they're a 500 team, right? Yeah,
right. They're 3-2-1. Yeah, 3-2-1.
Oh, that's right. My fault.
And the Packers, oh my God, their offense is horrendous right now. The Titans have turned their season around. They're coming off their bye. They won 3 in a row. And the Giants, I'm just speechless. I can't believe they're. I don't want to say they're a fraudulent 5-1 team, but are they good as their record? I don't know about that.
I mean, I tell you what, though, man, when they turn it on in the fourth quarter, and that's a problem, especially with us.
Yeah, yep, they do.
You know, when we fall off in that third quarter, and you're struggling in the fourth quarter, that's when New York turns it on, and that's
hello, man. What happens? This happened during Andy's tenure. Sometimes they just, for whatever reason, would be they get a nice lead, then be flat. I understand this goes on in the league. Is there anything that happens with complacency in a game that you could put?
So you get kind of, you just kind of like, all right, we're coasting, and, you get a couple 3 and outs, and then you're like, all right, well, hey, let's put it up to the other side and go ahead and hold it down. And then it's like you need something to snap you out of it to kind of get you going again. And that's one of the things that I think that you need to have leadership out there on the field to kind of keep everybody in check. Yeah, because when you look at this team, like just how they have that first quarter where it's not so good, second quarter you're on fire, in the third quarter you come out of halftime, you're still trying to get the juices going back again. So this team is definitely going to have to start figuring out how they can put 4 quarters together, because you don't want to go up against any of these teams, because I don't want to sleep on any of them. I want to be able to keep this thing undefeated and run all the way through it. But for us to do that, we need to make sure that our leadership can make sure that these guys stay on point so that you don't have those lows.
All right. We will see if the Eagles address that during the bye week. I'm sure that they'll get some good rest. We're going to get some good rest because we will not be back next week because there's no game for us to talk about. So 2 weeks and we'll be back. Let me guys leave you with this one. This is an interesting. Who would you pick as the player of the game? Because there's not one single player that just dominated this game. So I'm curious as to who you would think.
Flip. I have no idea.
No, I got to go with CJ Gardner.
Okay. Oh, he had the big interception.
Yeah, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. He got hurt. He got hurt. Came back. He fought to get back on the field. Got another turnover.
Yeah. How about Jalen Hurts with he didn't throw the ball a lot, but 155 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 104.6 passer rating against arguably the best defense in the league. That's pretty good. If it's not the Eagles defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think the passer rating reflects the way he played in terms of a passer. I don't
yeah, but he didn't put the ball in harm's way again. It's a good
defense. He doesn't. He's odd. It's funny you said. I was thinking about that. He just makes good decisions. I remember there was one play where he scrambled and he didn't see anyone open. He just threw it out of bounds. That's what you want from your quarterback.
Right.
A young guy on his second full year starting, that's there's something to be said about that. Live for the next play. That is so important. Again, he doesn't turn it over. That's awesome.
All right. Sounds like a good show. Eagles stay undefeated. Philly's getting ready for the National League Championship Series. It's going to be a heck of a week here in Philadelphia. For Adam Caplan and Trey Thomas, I'm Geoff Mosher. Big thanks to Sky Motor Cars. Big thanks to Jimmy Hyden of Public Square Media for producing. Big thanks to Rivers Casino and, of course, Fight Camp app. Make sure you download that app. We'll catch you about 2 weeks from now. Have a good time, everybody.